I got you a little something.
You did, a towel.
Yeah. I figured we could throw in the towel.
I thought it was for
Do you like that
the sweat off
analogy?
of my head
Yeah.
from trying to be this creative all the time.
It's super tough. I'm pretty devastated, actually.
Devastated.
Yeah, this is hard. I mean, making this podcast, you just have to sit there and look pretty, but I have to do some other things. Maybe people don't know about it. I could share.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have to talk.
I do. Well, do you think that's all I do, Brandon? Oh, en contraire, don't ding me. All right, now, the thing is to make this, we've got 3 different camera angles. We've got camera number 1, the camera number 2, and camera number 3. It's that one right.
Which one?
Right there. Can you see it? There you go. Okay, so we take those, we edit. We got sound recordings. These are called microphones, in case you weren't familiar with them.
Ding him.
But we put this all together. And of course, the last 2 weeks, there's always been something that has failed. The first week, maybe you're not aware, the audio was a little poor.
You were a bit loud, if I remember.
I do remember I was a little bit loud,
Yeah.
but we've kind of corrected
Thanks
that.
for not yelling at me last week.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
And then, of course, last week, one of the cameras stopped recording. We didn't know until later. And I had to find a very creative way to get a shot. And my wife she immediately picked up on it. She was like, "Oh, I know what you did." That's what she said when she watched it. She's like, "I know what you did." And but we'll see if you can figure out what I did. But yeah, every time something goes wrong, and then we have to do this again, it just makes me like, it's so hard to stay creative. You want to throw
Just
in
like
the towel.
that.
We
Yep.
just want to throw in the towel.
I got
So
it.
hard to stay creative when you experience failure, and that's tough.
You know the best part though is you're not alone, right?
Right. I was hoping.
First off, we all experience failure.
Just me?
The cool thing is that we're a team.
That's true. We do have some people behind the scenes, which makes it a little, nicer to have like a group of people. But I just think about for our young viewers that a lot of times you probably have tried something new, or like you were doing some type of like art project, or you were finally like, I'm going to get creative with how my room looks. I'm going to rearrange the furniture. And then it turned out like it didn't quite work out, or something happened. And it's tough to stay really excited when you've experienced something just not going the way that it should. Do think about, that failure must be part of creativity.
Failure certainly is. Yeah. This always makes me think like my kids never did this, but I've heard of kids doing this, right?
Okay.
Like have any of your kids ever grabbed like a pack of crayons or markers and decided to paint you a mural in your hallway?
No.
Super creative,
never.
right?
Yeah, of course they
Very
have.
creative.
And
as a parent, you're like, oh, I love your creativity.
Absolutely.
Now go get a washcloth.
This is
that
why
off,
my
right?
wife
Those
and
are
I.
the washable markers, right?
See, washable markers are all that we have in the house now because of this incident. So in some ways, that failure moment to purchase the cheap crayons,
right,
taught me to be more creative of how I spend my money to invest in the more, washable crayons. Am I saying it right? I'm from New Jersey, so
this is almost
crayons,
like a
am I
public
saying
service
crayons?
message.
Yeah,
for all the parents out there.
yeah. Don't go cheap, guys. It's never worth it. So, anyways, I gotta say, there are times where it's like, learning the hard way sometimes motivates you also to discover that there are better ways to do things, right? Most certainly this can come with God. When we learn the hard way about not going God's way, we discover very quickly, God's way is probably better for us, and we should follow his way. It's great when we can learn that lesson without having to go the hard way, though.
Like Jonah.
Yeah, like Jonah. Absolutely like Jonah. I do not want to be swallowed by a whale.
That would be gross.
Oh, dude, you'd have all this fish around you. Just think about that. In the whale, and you're like...
But way smellier.
3 days? This is terrible, right? And so you wanna be able to be free to try, and it's okay if it didn't quite work out, but you want to also learn from that and get more creative and find new ways. So a way that we've decided to learn and grow is that we have been using the last 2 weeks some big words and not paying attention to how we're speaking. And so, of course, we realize, these words, the kids don't know what these words are. Why are we using them? So we came up with the idea that, okay, every time that we every time we say a big word, we're going to hear a ding, and then we have to ante up some money. That was totally an opportunity for the ding to happen, by the way. There's the sound of the ding. That's what it sounds like. And they have to put money in. No, take your money out. I'm not going to touch your money, but put your money out.
Touch my money.
Get ready for
just in case.
Just in case.
That was a
probably not going to have to pay
moment.
up anything. Right. So here's the thing. Where did creativity even come from?
It came from God, right? I mean, he created everything. He was creative in the beginning.
We talked about this, that God himself is creative, and he gave us creativity. He gave us creativity to be used as part of his story, right?
Right.
Not necessarily like if we use the drawing on the wall thing, that's not really how those crayons are supposed to be used, or as my mother would say, is crowns. Now, crowns. That's how they say it in New Jersey. That's the crayons. That's how you're supposed to say it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I always thought it was crayons.
Crayons?
Crayons.
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 Anyways, we'll go with crayons.
French?
We'll go with crayons.
Crayons.
So you're not supposed to use crayons in a way where you're not drawing the way they're supposed to be used. You can get creative, but also don't be in a way where it's destructive.
Don't crawl on the wall.
Creativity, God gave us creativity not to be destructive with it, but to be used as part of his story, to be uplifting, supporting other people, to
like
also
using your crayons to write up a letter and start up a pen pal friendship with them, maybe?
Yeah, totally. You can totally do that. That's a way to uplift other people. I'll give you one that you may not
use
this is one thinking outside of the box that I never would have thought of in a million years, and I saw a kid do this. So on a mission trip in Mexico, we handed out boxes of crayons, and I thought to myself, like as I'm handing them out to the kids too, that don't have a lot, right? These kids don't have very much. I thought to myself, like, why are we handing this out without paper? That doesn't make a lot of sense. But then I saw this kid take these crayons in a really creative way, did something. He had a bicycle. It was like made of plastic and had wheels and stuff. And it was clearly used and run down, but it was his bicycle.
Right.
And he took the crayons and he started coloring in the wheels, and he started etching these designs and stuff. And what I thought was so cool with that is, although like maybe for me, I'm not supposed to color on my bicycle, but for him, he was given something like that bicycle, and he used the crayons to help make it his own. And I thought that was so cool, because I saw him use a gift that he was given and used it in a creative way that still blessed and honored God, but also helped him be him.
Wow, that's amazing. How much more amazing is it when, you get a group of people together and they use their creativity the way God, designed them to achieve something maybe even amazingly miraculous,
Right.
Like our story from today.
Okay, what's our story from today?
So, I thought you'd never ask.
Yeah, the segue was fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, what I meant to say is segue is it's a type of vehicle that transports you from one place to another. I'm just kidding. It means to transition from one thing to another. The word transition means to... Ding! I'm getting myself in a lot of trouble. That's why I put a 20 in. All right, so transition means when you have one thing and you move on to the next thing. You see what I did there? Yes,
well done.
That's great.
Actually,
we use it in the film industry a lot.
When you pulled that out, I actually thought you were getting your phone out to try and look up
segue.
Segway.
As quickly as much as I can. No,
Segway.
See, this is a creative way where I will never, ever lose my wallet. It's attached to my phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody came up with that.
Yes.
Okay, back to Mark 2.
Not me.
2. So here we are. We're in Capernaum.
Don't try to say it. They'll ding
Don't
us.
ding me for that. Again.
A place.
So many people gathered that there's no room left, and there was not even room outside the door, and Jesus preached the word to them. Now, what's really cool, so
Jam-packed session that can't happen today.
absolutely, right? So along come these 4 friends, and they've got this guy with them, right? And he's paralyzed, right? He can't walk.
What's paralyzed mean?
No!
Yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Tell it again.
So, he is unable to walk because of this friend. Yeah, right. And
a frog was on his leg, so he couldn't walk. Couldn't walk because his frog was just right there. He didn't want to move it. He didn't want to bother it. It's like, oh, no, the frog. Like, come on, what's wrong? What's wrong with the guy?
I was trying to come up with another way to say.
I understand. His legs don't work.
His legs don't work.
There you go. That's what it is. No, frogs.
So his legs don't work.
Right.
And so here's his 4 friends. Mm-hmm. Place is packed.
Yes.
They know that if they can get him to Jesus, Jesus can heal him.
Yeah, they had faith.
They know that.
They had faith that Jesus can.
But how to get him there, right?
The
Jesus can save this guy. He can heal him.
Right. The room is filled with people. So what are they going to do?
They're
what are they going to do?
working together, and they come up with this absolutely crazy plan.
It's super
right?
crazy. Yes, absolutely.
Crazy plan. They cut a new skylight. No, they cut a hole in the roof.
They cut a hole. They made
so they could lower their friend right to Jesus.
Yes.
And once they got him down there, Jesus not only heals him, but forgives his sins and tells these guys how great their faith is.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Super cool story.
And that's what this is all about. Like, God made us to be creative in groups, like to do more than we could by ourselves.
Yeah.
But the 4 of them together came up with this great idea. We're going to get up on the roof.
Right.
We believe that Jesus has the power to heal him. We're going to hopefully not cut a hole. Maybe there was something existing.
No, they definitely ripped into that roof.
They ripped it. Okay.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because we're like, well, wait a second. That was like, if I went to my parents, if I went on my parents' roof and I cut a hole,
cut a skyline.
Right. It's just a little skyline. Let some light in, and then my parents are all like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "What? It's in the Bible."
That's not the point of the story, Rick.
Well, but here's the thing. Yes, they were destructive, but what mattered here? What was the most important thing? It's not because their friend couldn't walk, and it's not because their friends were found a creative way to present their friend to Jesus. He's like, guys, get me to Jesus. And they're like, but only in a creative way. We gotta do it. It's gotta be spectacular, right? That wasn't the main reason.
Large paper airplane.
No, the most important thing to this story is that what's our main focus with being creative? Is it for ourselves, or is it for Jesus and what he's doing?
Right.
And that's the most important thing.
That's the bottom line.
Absolutely. And so we can see that we can use our creativity, right, to be faithful to Jesus. Right. We could use it to work together with other people too.
Right.
And I think that's what you've been hinting out this whole time.
That is, yeah. Did I not come right out and say it?
No, you haven't really come out right out and say it. So what do you really want to talk about with the kids today? You tell us.
God calls us to use our gifts together.
We'll say it again.
Man, I almost had that with a straight face.
Say it again.
God calls us to use our gifts together. That's what this is all about.
And I feel like, you know what? I needed to hear that.
We're stronger together than by ourselves.
What's some of the big ways that we can be creative together?
Right. And so there's so many ways, right? And so many different opportunities for people to get creative together.
That's why I'm asking you.
Did I just repeat everything you just said?
It's okay.
Okay. So.
Yes. How? We're never gonna get past this point. We're never gonna get past this point. What are some ways? What are some ways?
This is not what they meant when they said brainstorm.
This is us. We're trying to brainstorm right now what we can actually talk about. Okay.
Rick, don't leave me out here to die.
Right. So people could use brainstorms in order to be creative together.
Right. Exactly. So when you're in a
maybe
group,
the kids. Yeah. So explain.
And you've got a problem. But you're in a group.
Right.
Like we do this in like small groups. Like when somebody says, what are some things you could do to share Jesus? Right?
Yeah.
And one kid goes, oh, we could tell the person on the corner about our faith.
Yeah.
And another kid goes, oh, we could pray for people. And not just like one kid comes up with those, but collectively as a group, they all, no, I was so close. Felt like I was really going to get through the whole thing without that.
You have to look right at that camera now and tell them exactly what the word collectively means.
Collectively means together as a...
So collectively also means that it's grouped.
Do we get to ding anybody? He used collectively that time.
No, I'm explaining the definition. Don't try to
You
sabotage
can't use the word in the definition. Any elementary...
The word sabotage means to plan against me. I think that one's worth $5. Here we go. All right.
Pizza's on Rick, guys.
So brainstorming creates the opportunity for new ideas to come about. So I'm in with a group, right? And Buzz is over here with me.
Right.
And Buzz raises his hand. It's like, oh, Buzz, you got an answer to the idea? And he says, absolutely, I do. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I got this idea. And then in my head, suddenly that sparks other ideas that I wasn't thinking about because his creativity was a gift to me to even become more creative, and together we come up with these ideas that are like beyond what either of us were able to infinity and beyond ideas that neither of us were able to come up with on our own. This is why it's so cool is when we work together, none of us can take credit for the idea, which is awesome. We don't
just
have
like our Bible
ownership of
story
it.
today.
Right, yeah. Could you imagine for a second, like, one of the friends is up there up at the top, and he's like, oh, Jesus is my idea. Oh, I take full credit. And they're like lowering the guy down, right? Oh, it's like, oh, no. In the end, what mattered was that Jesus healed and Jesus did amazing things. And that as Christians is what we want most of all. It reminds me of a movie. Are you thinking the same movie that I'm thinking about?
Minions?
No, I was thinking about Finding Nemo. Come on. Minions. No, okay.
Banana.
Yes, actually. Okay.
No.
Here, all right.
Okay.
Yes, we'll use Minions versus Finding Nemo.
Minions
right?
versus Finding.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
all right.
imagine that
Here we
like
go.
slice through the screen where it's like Minions versus Finding Nemo.
I have a minion.
I don't have a fish. Just pretend that this is. So in the movie Finding Nemo, at the very end, Nemo, right? The fish get caught in a net, and Nemo immediately comes up with an idea, right? And he's like, oh, we could do this. Let's swim together, right? But it doesn't just take him, right? He might have the first idea, but then his dad comes in and he starts to help people. No, you have to listen, right? And then all the fish are swimming down together. They swim down, and that releases the net so that everyone can swim away, so they don't get caught, which is awesome. Minions, they tend to, when they have group thought and they get to think together, right? You know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
One has an idea, right? Banana, right? Or like, let's blow up this, right? And immediately that sparks ideas in other minions' brains, and they get even more destructive. They even like start destroying other things.
Through doors.
Right. So what does that tell us? What does that tell us? It tells us that ideas or creative ideas can be helpful and support other people for a good calling like Jesus, or they might do things that are harmful and destructive and cause people not to follow God. And so we need to be careful, as creativity is a gift from God, just like the crayons or crowns or crones, however you say it. You need to be careful of how you use what God has given you. And is it for God or is it not for God?